1, 2, 3, 4. Chop, chop, chop.
It's cure of the what now?
Gather the ingredients.
Cure of the what now?
Not much time to prep before it's time to start the show.
Oh!
Guests are arriving.
Cure of the what now?
Everybody's smiling.
Cure of the what now?
A tasty party starting. Now it's time to go. Woo!
Ooh, served hot and fresh.
Itadakimasu. Hello, fellow cats who have been trapped in human bodies, and welcome to episode 8 of Cure of the What Now?
Cure of the what now? This is the last week I get to do that.
Oh yeah, I guess it is. It's the one show where we know, quick, knock stuff off shelves in your distress. Maybe that'll get people to attend to you.
When you want something, just scratch at the door really hard and go, hey!
Where's my pink-haired servant boy with the high voice so I can fuck up his hair?
Oh, that's where you're going. I was like, I don't know what's going on. Are you on Kanade's home planet right now? From the mic test?
From the mic test. My name is Kat, and everybody watch out. I've got a gun now.
It kind of looks like a guitar, but it also doubles as a gun.
Tone, shut the fuck up. I'm sorry, that's a lot of F-bombs. I'll try to tone it down for the rest of the episode.
Please and thank you. I'm your co-host, Joel, and I have made a sand statue of my favorite things. So I've got one of my beautiful wife, I've got one of my adorable puppy, and I have another one that's, Mirko from My Hero Academia.
We love Mirko.
She's very strong.
Bunny girl supremacy in this household.
Anyways, before we get into the episode, I already alluded to this, but I believe that it has been confirmed that on the 17th, which is Easter weekend here in the U.S., actually Easter's celebrated around the world, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Okay. Sometimes I get confused. Some holidays are very specific to the United States.
Easter is a Catholic holiday, so anywhere there are Catholics, there is Easter.
Okay. But Delicious Party PreCure is coming back. So for episode 9 of the podcast, we plan on watching episode 6 of Max Heart, episode 6 of Delicious Party, and we will dial it back to 2 episodes of Sweet. Which would be
cute.
26 and 27.
Excellent. We do have some sad news as well regarding Easter weekend. You remember that panel we announced last week? It is canceled.
Yes.
I'm pretty bummed about it. It turns out that doing a panel doesn't come with passes to the convention, and usually they have at-con registration, but this year they decided to not have that, and they announced it a couple of days ago, and I was like, we don't have passes though? And they went, sorry, I guess your panel's canceled. So there's always next year.
Yeah, absolutely. We didn't even, peek behind the curtains, we weren't even sure we were going to get the panel because it seemed kind of late into the process that they opened up people being allowed to register. And then it was quite close to when the event was happening that they officially were like, yeah, you've been approved and stuff. So that kind of sucks. We might do something. The thing is that we're not great at this. Kat and I have never streamed before, and I don't know how many of y'all would be interested in joining us on Twitch as we did a PreCure tier ranking video or something like that, or as we play, I don't know, Danganronpa or whatever we choose to do. I just don't know if we'd be able to get that set up and if it would work out, but we might do something. Twitter would be the best place to find news of that.
Absolutely. And now that I'm not going to a convention for Easter weekend, I'm making carrot cake. So,
Absolutely.
Carrot cake at the Cotwin house.
Absolutely.
Who doesn't love carrot cake? I think it would be a crime to not love good carrot cake. If you put raisins in your carrot cake, you're a criminal, and you should go to jail. And I don't even believe in jail as a general rule.
Is this your carrot cake cancelable take that you're tweeting out now that that's the new trend on Twitter?
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness.
Do you have a discussion question for me this week?
Yes, I have a PreCure plot that I would like to suggest. Now, as I've said before, I'm not really into traditionally girly things a whole lot, so I'm not going to have ideas that are going to fit the traditional PreCure mold. So most of my suggestions are going to be a little bit outside of PreCure normal stuff. But
PreCure football, where they all just tackle each other the whole season.
You don't tackle people in soccer. Oh, you meant American football.
I meant football, yeah.
Yeah, American football.
Where do we live? What country are we in?
We live in the void.
What country are we in right now?
I don't know.
Okay, we're in America, and so
sure?
I'm going to use the typically accepted words for things, since that's where we are. If we move to England or Spain or Brazil, then we can say American football versus football. But here we say soccer.
Hang on. Si empezamos a hablar en español, claro que sí, es fútbol y fútbol americano.
Sí.
Perfect. Now, anyways, what I was going to say, my slightly probably won't happen with actual PreCure with Toei, but what about a season where they like video games and their PreCure forms can actually like level up and that sort of things, and there's like secret keys that you could find for power-ups?
I love this. May I introduce you to Kamen Rider X-Aid?
Yes, I tried Kamen Rider X8 and I didn't like it.
It wasn't for me. I really loved Kamen Rider Drive. Like, I knew in the first 5 minutes of Drive, this is a show for me. I knew in the first 5 minutes of X8 that I wasn't going to enjoy it as much. But it does have cool costumes, and I like the idea of he gets little cartridges, and each cartridge is a different game, and that gives him different powers while he's fighting. That's cool, and we can steal it for our PreCure season. That's the items they're collecting, is the 10 holy cartridges.
Oh,
or whatever.
Okay. I like it. Now, the main cure, who's usually pink, tends to embody whatever that season is about. And technically, the video games don't have to be what the season's about. The season could be about being your true self.
Trying hard.
Embracing your hobbies or something like that. But if you wanted the main character to be really into video games, they could be a glasses-wearing kind of nerdy girl, if you wanted to. Or they could be someone who's really into like one specific video game, and they're wondering if they should branch out. And one of the other cures they meet in one of the first couple of episodes could be more of the, I know a lot about video games. I know the history, and I know what makes the NES games appeal to some people, and I know what an RPG game is. And the main girl could be like, RPG? I don't understand.
Sounds like a blue cure. Yellow is really into DDR and DDR only, but she's so good at it, and she uses dance-style moves to beat the bad guys.
Oh my gosh, yes, please. And she's also a bit like how Madoka from Star Twinkle comes off. She's a little bit like how I believe one of the Hugto girls are like, but she's the princess that everyone thinks is like untouchable and like separate from their world, and she's just always at the arcade doing DDR, but no one ever talks to her until she gets dragged into the squad.
That would be so much fun to watch, though. Can you imagine? Punch! Punch! Kick! Punch! Dodge! Punch! And it's just the whole fight, and the bad guy's like, would you stop that?
Oh my gosh. The fairy could basically be a Tamagotchi as well. Like, it's this little floating guy, and you have to feed it with the buttons and stuff.
That's kind of what Meppel and Mipple were in the original.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, no, I'm totally on board with that. Did I tell you that I correctly guessed and then confirmed Digimon was released to be like the boy version of Tamagotchi?
Interesting. Okay.
That's why they evolve, because that's what happened in Tamagotchi, is if you fed your pet well, it would like turn into other creatures.
Okay, yeah. See, I have fond memories of a Tamagotchi. I do not remember anything about it, honestly. I saw a video recently where someone mentioned that they found an old one and they were playing like some like up-down game, and I was like, I don't remember that at all.
I once I think it was 6th grade, it would have had to have been because that's when I was in Catholic school, but I found a book in the library
You got a deep lore cut about Catherine today.
I found a book in the library that was like, the ultimate guide to Tamagotchis, or to raising your Tamagotchi. And I was like really into it, but Tamagotchis were before my time. I was way too little when they were popular to have one. And so I never owned a Tamagotchi, but I've always kind of romanticized it because of this book.
The age gap is showing, because I had a Tamagotchi, and I remember my mom distinctly complaining that she shouldn't have to feed my pet while I was at school, because Tamagotchis weren't allowed, so they had to stay with her. And I was like, Mom, if you don't feed it every 2 hours, it dies. I can't tend to my V-pets, my virtual pet.
What a nice mom, though, that she did it anyway.
Yeah.
Because that doesn't seem like something that my mom would do, or that I would expect your mom to do, but she did it.
So, Secret Cure, obviously a video game character who comes to life.
Yes. Oh my gosh, what if it's like the princess in the dungeon or whatever?
Yes, it could be like an AI character. Absolutely, that would be so good. And obviously most, not all, but a lot of mid-season cures are kind of like not of the world, so they have a little bit of like, what are the customs of this planet we call Earth kind of a phase, and that would fit a virtual program so much. She would like go into like the school cafeteria and be like, I will give you 3 ogre meats, and the other girls would be like, no, 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 and then like put her hand over her mouth and drag her away.
I have bad news for you, Joel.
Yeah?
The villains of this season are once again just boomers.
No!
Get your head out of the screen and pay attention to real life. No, playing games together brings us together as friends.
Oh my goodness gracious. Absolutely, absolutely. Whew, is there anything else that we really need to cover? I'm not sure.
What does the fairy creature look like? And does it, like a Tamagotchi, progress through various stages?
You know I love Mia. Everyone has their own individual fairy. I wonder if... I think the fairy should be able to evolve, but I don't like the idea of the first 10 episodes, it's... I don't know,
it's a
blob or something. And then for 11 to 15, it's a blob with legs, and then after that it has arms. So maybe it has like different forms that it can take, and maybe it gets its different forms from the different girls that join the team. They could like put their little cartridges, their discs, into the Tamagotchi, and that allows the fairy to take on different forms or something like that.
Okay, I like that a lot. Speaking of which, I just want to shout out Cancer Form Fua.
Oh, yes.
Fua with cancer is somehow the cutest Fua.
She's just wearing a little crab onesie. She's
just
adorable.
A little crab puff. I love her. I love her so much. But this is not a Star Twinkle episode. Joel, can you please hit me with a succinct summary for the episodes of Sweet PreCure that we watched?
Yes, we watched another 4 episodes, starting with 22. So we watched 22, 23, 24, and 25.
And these are all kind of about the same thing, so I'm just going to let you succinctly summarize all of them, and then we'll talk about them.
Oh, you'll let me. Thank you. No.
You're right. It's my podcast. You're always saying so. Gonna crack that Catholic school whip.
Half of our audience imagined one thing and the other half imagined something that was completely different, and these 2 ideas are not compatible with each other, just so you know, just so you're aware.
Should I put on the nun's habit?
It's called a habit. Is it because they put it on all the time it becomes their own habit?
Yep, you figured it out.
Sweet.
Can I have a succinct summary, please?
Okay. So, Siren cannot transform back into her cat form. As I guessed, her little tag was the thing that allowed her to transform. So now that it's gone, she can't transform. And she doesn't think that she's worthy of being a PreCure because of all of the horrible things that she did. And you know, that's a fair point. But then Hummy basically is like, hey, we want you to be on our team. Please reconsider. And she goes, no, absolutely not. And then Hibiki and Kanade show up, and they're like, hey, we want you to be on our team, Siren. And she goes, hey, I'm not Siren anymore. And so Hibiki goes, okay, I'll call you Ellen. And I can't remember if in the very first episode of Sweet, if she introduced herself as Ellen to Hibiki, because she took that, her default human form, I guess would be the word for it. But anyways, her name is now Ellen, and she still doesn't want to be a PreCure. But Odakichi kind of tells her about how she can appreciate music, how we all appreciate music, and she listens to her heartbeat. This is going to be important in a second. And that kind of helps show her that she loves music. So when the minor trio show up and they attack Hummy and they're being all evil and stuff, Ellen transforms in order to protect Hummy, the one that she loves most, and she becomes Cure Beat, because it represents the heartbeat that's in her and it represents our love of music. And she saves the day, and she has her own final attack, and we will talk about that more after the succinct summary. In the next episode, even though Ellen has now become a PreCure, she basically really only cares about Hummy, and she still doesn't feel like she's part of the team, and she's not welcome, even though they've tried to welcome her all the time. And she basically meets a runaway kid who is having some conflict with her dad, and Ellen goes, you know what, I'm gonna make my bad decisions your bad decisions. Let's run away together. We don't need to rely on anyone else.
I'm gonna make your bad decisions my bad decisions is probably one of my favorite sound bites from this podcast.
Absolutely. So, but Hibiki and Kanade are like, no, we're all connected and we all love each other. I'm sure that whatever this kid's problem is with their dad, if they talk to each other, they'll figure it out. Because what happened is the dad was going to leave for a year because he's a doctor and he's like one of the only people who can attend to these people on this ship, I suppose. And the kid felt lonely, but then he realized that the dad cares about him a lot, and then they make up, and then Ellen goes, okay, fine, maybe I care about other people, and she officially becomes like a part of the team, which is awesome. Episode 24 is a beach episode. Specifically, Ellen is trying to figure out how to become friends with people. She's only had the one friend, Hummy, and Hummy sort of like glomped onto her and said, we're friends now, I'm not giving you a choice. And that's not exactly how Hibiki and Kanade work. So she's trying to figure out how to talk with them, and she once again runs into Odakichi and Soda and Akko, and weird that Odakichi wants to play with these two youngsters, and he has a grandchild he mentioned, and he has the same glasses as Akko. Interesting. But in this episode, Ellen learns to express her feelings to Hibiki and Kanade, and they become closer as friends, more or less. They build a sand sculpture of Hummy, and then the minor trio show up, and they do some minor trio stuff, and they get stopped, more or less, basically.
Eats guitar! That's what they say all the time. I don't remember what it means.
Interesting. And then episode 25 is the festival episode that I think every PreCure season has a festival episode, and
this is my favorite so far.
It also is episode 25 of Star Twinkle. So I think, Kat, you and I were talking about this off mic, but episode 25 must just happen to always be around the time of year that they do the Tachibana festival or whatever, and so they have an episode celebrating that, which is awesome. Ellen is scared of monsters, and Hibiki and Kanade kind of tease her about it, but they don't know she's afraid. So what they do is they kind of like jump scare her without knowing it. She gets frightened, she runs off, and they go, oh, is she scared? We should apologize to her. And while Hummy's explaining that Ellen is afraid of monsters, the minor trio overhear this and they go, great. So they dress up as monsters and they scare Ellen, pretending to be Hibiki and Kanade in costume. And so then when the three girls meet up again, Ellen's like, you're mean to me, you hate me. And they're like, we don't hate you. And she goes, I'm gonna join the minor trio, I'm running away with Dad. And then bass drum and bass drum at the same time, now fused together into one body.
Whose name is?
I guess it would be bass and bass drum, would be their combined form. And so he goes, come join me, be evil again. And she goes, great. By the way, he did a thing where he stole the what are they called? The heart modules from Hibiki and Kanade so they can't transform. But Ellen steals them and she goes, by the way, I was just tricking you, you idiot, you big fat smelly ogre. And he's like, oh man, you're really hurtful.
You don't have to fat shame me. That doesn't seem in line with the mission of the PreCure.
And then they save the day and the girls are having a fun time. And Ellen realizes that she can face her fears if it means protecting Hibiki and Kanade, and it was very sweet, and that has been your succinct summary.
That was a beautiful, succinct summary. Which of these episodes would you say was your favorite?
I really, really, really liked the beach episode. I have a soft spot for characters who want to be friends but don't really know how to be friends, and then they figure out how to be friends. I think that's like kind of the perfect PreCure story to tell for a mid-season cure, and we've gotten that with a lot of other characters. We got it with Toa, we got it with Uni, we got it with Ellen, but it really, really worked the way that Ellen did it. Plus, there was a lot of great facial expressions. There was Hummy playing on a beach ball and with the fairy tones. There were the fairy tones chilling out with the tropical drink. It was a great episode overall.
Absolutely. The first two episodes we watched kind of just felt like Ys again. Like I've done bad things, so I'm a bad person. I can't be a PreCure. But like, I just watched that. I just watched Fresh. I'm over it. And Siren had a very distinct personality that was missing in these first two episodes because she's unsure and she's like, oh no, I'm evil. But then in the beach episode, she finally kind of snaps and she yells at the girls and the girls are like, nah, buddy, we're friends. And then after that, she takes on more of her original personality.
Absolutely.
Which I really like. She's yelling at them and she's like, you're doing that wrong. Hummy's sand sculpture needs a tail. We have to go imposter.
Yes.
And so it was really delightful to see her come out of her shell enough to be herself again. And then that carries on into the festival episode, which, as I mentioned during the succinct summary, is probably my favorite festival episode I've seen so far, where she gives the girls kind of a hard time for being mean to her, and then she's cunning enough to trick the bad guys. Also, she and Ouji-sama walk together for a little while, and that was cute.
Yes, so she gets separated after she gets scared and runs away, and she runs into Ouji, who's like, oh no, crying girl must tend to her needs. And they talk, and he basically is like, I don't know if your friends were trying to bully you. She used that word in the...
They bullied me.
And he goes, I don't think they were bullying you. Maybe you should talk to them again. And at the end of the episode, when they go through the haunted house, and Ellen's running and holding on to the hands of Hibiki and Kanade, Ouji is there dressed as a vampire, and he gives her a thumbs up because he can see that she's being brave, and she made up with her friends. So, that's awesome.
Why can't all boys be like that? You know?
I don't know.
I see a person, I want to help them. I am always nice and eternally thoughtful and empathetic. That's what we want from boys.
Here comes the highbrow, I used to be an AP student. Did you ever read a separate piece?
No.
I don't remember what time it takes place in. It takes place around a war, but I don't know if it was World War I or II or if it was something else. But basically there's two friends, and one of them is the pure perfection friend. He's the cinnamon bun. He can do no wrong. He forgives everyone. He always knows what to say. And the main character basically ends up killing him.
I was going to say, is this the one where he pushes his friend out a tree?
Yes. He basically has a moment of jealousy, and he doesn't mean to kill the kid, but the kid dies anyways. And in my literature class where we were talking about this, they mentioned that, like, symbolically, he kind of had to die because he was so perfect. And this is a trope that's been in lots of other media, for example. But I think the problem with a character like Ouji is that if you want the story to be more realistic, characters should have flaws to some degree, and Ouji doesn't have them. I think real boys aren't as perfect as Ouji because real boys have other thoughts
because they're real. Yeah. Well, and I mean, he has flaws. He is often late to things because he gets distracted saving kittens.
That's called a Mary Sue or a Gary Sue.
You don't even know. You didn't write fanfic in the 80s.
But he's a great character. I do really like him. I think that if we had a character like him every season, it would get boring. But it's refreshing to have him in this season.
Yeah, he's so nice. And watching him, like, be nice to Ellen makes my heart happy.
It was very good.
He and Ellen are the endgame. I am not on board with Kanade, Ouji.
He has two hands.
She idolizes him too much. She puts him up on a pedestal and doesn't see him as a person.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I want to talk about Ouji a little bit more, but very quickly, which of these 4 episodes are your favorite? Are you in agreement that the beach episode?
Yeah, I was trying to say the beach episode was my favorite. I just really liked the festival episode.
Oh, yeah. Just wanted to get that officially stated on record. Okay. Ouji-sama. One thing that I found was a little strange. So, the episode where they go to the beach, there's a sand sculpture competition, and they mention that the winner will get a year's supply of Lucky Spoon cupcakes. So, Hibiki gets, like, the anime fire aura, and she goes, "Cupcakes, yeah!" And Ellen goes like, wow, she's really fired up. And then Kanade, and then they mention, oh, by the way, one of the judges is Ouji-sama. So Kanade gets all fired. She goes, yeah, Ouji-sama, yeah! And Ellen's like, wow, they're both fired up. What seems strange to me is that Ellen had no reaction to Ouji-sama being the judge. And so I thought, okay, maybe with all of this identity crisis stuff going on, she doesn't have feelings for him anymore. Maybe she somehow forgot about the 2 times that she interacted with him. But then in the very next episode, she's hot for Ouji again. So I did find that a little strange, and I get the point was that she didn't feel like she could get fired up because she was being a little distant. But I still would have liked some recognition of like, oh, it's that boy.
We still don't know where she went when she disappeared for an episode.
That is strange.
My theory is still that she went and she hung out at Ouji's house.
Maybe. She pulled an Edward Cullen as the cat at the end of his bed, just like watching him. I'll protect you, Ouji-sama.
Man, I forgot that Edward snuck into Bella's room and watched her before they even started dating. Why? Mm-hmm. You know, I'm going to go off on a tangent here, and I'm not apologizing because this is my show. I appreciate a good paranormal romance. With all of the tropes that come with that would be creepy if they happened in real life or if you weren't interested in pursuing the person.
Oftentimes, the things that separates a romantic gesture and a creepy gesture in rom-coms is whether or not the girl likes him or not.
Yeah, is it reciprocated? You could turn any rom-com into a horror just by changing the girl's reaction.
Absolutely.
But even I cannot find, I stood over your bed and watched you when we weren't in a relationship. I can't find that romantic. I don't like it.
Kat, you're not staying on brand here, okay?
Okay.
Even you, whose love is as wide as the ocean, can't forgive a man sitting at the end of a woman's bed.
Right? If I opened my eyes and some guy that I had caught staring at me at school was in my room, I'd pick up a baseball bat. I'd be like, we're throwing down now, sir. Let that be a warning to all of you out there in the audience. If you're thinking about showing up at my house, I can use a baseball bat.
Yeah, absolutely.
Joel seems confused and concerned. I am not threatening anyone, and I don't think anyone was actually planning to show up here.
In the back of my mind, I'm just thinking, how do I yes and this? If any of you develop a parasocial crush on Kat of the Cure of the What Now podcast, she will beat you up. And if that's the sort of thing you want, you're like, oh yeah, I'm kind of into that, then I'll beat you up.
Yeah,
okay?
And if you're into that too, then I guess we'll just stare at you with quiet disapproval until you leave. No physical violence for you weirdo.
Anyways.
Back to the episode.
Over? Okay, you are comfortable going back to the episode. Absolutely. Any standout moments from any of these episodes that you want to call out?
Ellen being afraid of the hermit crab was super cute.
At the very end of the episode, they're all happy and she's like, I had fun. And she looks down and there's a hermit crab on her leg and she freaks out and the entire crowd turns because she screams real loud. And she's like, I'm not afraid of hermit crabs. And they go, really? And they kind of like hold it like closer to her face and she screams again.
Yeah, well, and it's funny too because in the next episode we find out she's afraid of monsters. But the thing she says about the hermit crab is, oh my god, that shell is moving. And then the thing she says about the monster is, oh my god, that umbrella has a face. So she just doesn't like things that are the way they shouldn't be. She's very fixated on natural order, and that's funny to me. That seems like kind of control freak Siren.
Absolutely.
I also like that Hummy goes to great lengths in the festival episode to be like, Siren's afraid of monsters. I'm not afraid of them at all. But Siren, you put a monster in her face, she's gonna run. I wouldn't run. I'm not afraid. And I'm like, okay, Hummy, you're overcompensating. You are scared of monsters. And then the monsters show up, and of course, Hummy's like, oh no!
Absolutely. I love... So falsetto and baritone dress up as a Kappa and a skeleton, which is interesting because Kappa's is also one of the three bads from Star Twinkle, one of the generals, and skeleton because there was an episode of Futari Wa and also Fresh where skeletons came alive in the anatomy classroom or whatever. So I wonder if that's kind of a nod. But the third member, whose name shall not be spoken, he just has like a bag over his head. Like he didn't put any effort into his costume at all because he's not part of the plan. The plan is to make Ellen think that Hibiki and Kanade are teasing her again. So he doesn't participate because otherwise the number would be wrong and it would give the game away. So he just has a sack over his head.
Absolutely. Another thing I want to point out is we have been saying for 7 episodes now of this podcast.
Yeah.
You've been saying Siren just needs to pull out a gun and shoot the...
How do you fix the harmony power?
And I was like, she can't, Joel. She can't. She can't pull a trigger with her little kitty paws. Nobody's going to sell a kitty a firearm. And then, in the second episode... Or no, in the first episode that we watched, when she officially becomes Cure Beat, she gets her weapon at the same time.
More like Cure Beat Your Ass.
Her love guitar rod.
That sounds so stupid.
And the final attack that she does with the love guitar rod is she flips it. She pulls the guitar part back along the stem, and then she pulls a trigger and fires. They gave her a gun. She has hands. Now she gets a gun. So way to call that out. Way to foreshadow it for everybody. Incredible.
That was... I'm so amazed. I love her victory pose when she blows up the bad guys. It looks great. She has guitar and like kind of rock music seems to be her motif. And there's an episode, I can't remember specifically which one, but when the bad guys have shown up, she like flicks like a bang of her hair and it makes a little like guitar sound. And she has an attack where she can create music notes around her in like a ring, and then she strums the guitar, and they turn and they become arrows, and they just bombard the bad guy. She's so cool. And of course, like you mentioned last episode, she purple. Purple's a great color.
Yeah. She's got some great facial expressions. She's really cute. Mm-hmm. I always get her mixed up with the purple-haired Cure from Doki Doki because they're fairly similar, but you can tell when it's Doki Doki because Doki Doki has all the weird curves. Like their hair has little swirls in it.
Okay.
That aren't in any other seasons.
I realized the other day that if it's a season that I haven't watched, it has no effect on me. Like, I can look at a picture of a character from Doki Doki or Happiness Charge, and then 2 minutes later, I will not be able to tell you what they look like. So I hope that by the time we get to that season, I'll be able to more remember the curls in the hair or whatever.
Absolutely. I like that Siren's fairy tones actually...
Excuse me. Her name is Ellen.
I don't care. They actually interact with her.
Yes.
They are So and La.
Yeah.
And she transforms with La, which I object to.
Laurie and Sorry.
Yeah. But Sori is her weapon that she puts in the guitar to do the final shoot. And when she shoots, it does make a tone ring. So we've seen like the girl's 3 tone rings layer. But yeah, like Do, Re, Mi, Fa. We've got Do and Re transform Hibiki and Kanade into PreCure, and then Mi and Fa make their Beltiers stronger.
Yeah.
So next up should be So. But instead it skips it and it goes to La, and then So is the way. I don't understand. Maybe they just liked the colors better that way. They didn't want to make her green.
I'm almost positive that's what it is. They gave them rainbow colors to
differentiate.
No, they gave them the rainbow colors that kind of go into the scale. So Do's the first note and it gets red, and then Re's the next note and it gets orange. And so by the time they got to Ellen, who would have the Fa and So, they didn't want her to be green, so they gave her the purple. Like you said, I just wanted to kind of explain that more explicitly according to my thoughts.
Absolutely. But it's cute. They talk to her a bunch. They're like, do you want to be a PreCure now? We want to be your buddies.
Absolutely. Well, and they had an episode much earlier where Hummy told Hibiki that the pink one was like the fairy note of like remembrance or something. Like it had a specific use, and then they never brought it up again. And it would be kind of cool. I'm of two minds. If each of the fairy tones had their own specific ability and they were each used once, I would feel like, man, what a waste. You should have had that be more... They should have been like the Infinity Gems, where they each get their own powers or whatever. But if you had 8 of them and they all had their unique powers, I would probably get confused and forget which ones do what. But I do feel as though if you ask the creators, they probably do have specific abilities, and that probably relates to how the green and the blue one chose Ellen, but who knows? Who knows what those abilities are?
Absolutely. And really quick, I'm not going to describe it because I'm mad that it was a spoiler, so I'm just going to wait until it shows up in the actual season. But the new mid-cards have spoilers for something that's going to happen later. And that's frustrating. Mm-hmm. Toei, why do you do this?
Yeah. So that'll be interesting when that shows up. I mentioned Akko and Otokichi having the same glasses. Like I said, there's some things coming up down the pipeline that I know about because I accidentally saw it on the wiki. Oops. But one thing that I don't think counts as a spoiler to a major degree is the fact that Akko and Otokichi seem to be related, which kind of makes sense if you think about it. The clues were all there. They both wear the half-rim sunglasses. He mentioned having a grandchild, and there's how many named children in the show? There's Kanade and her brother Soda. There's Hibiki. There's Seki, I think was her name, the pastry girl. There's Juan, the volleyball girl, the sports girl. And that's it. And then there's Akko, and Akko's kind of like this friend, and it seems weird that, Soda would have a friend that he hangs out with all the time if she wasn't relevant in some way. So, yeah, I'm comfortable spoiling that there's a connection there. But, whether or not that means she's special in any way, who knows? She might just be the grandchild of this guy with incredible hockey.
Absolutely. That said, she's got some dodges.
She's got Soda. She and Soda entered the sand sculpture contest. He makes the face a gorilla, and she calls it ugly, and he pulls out a squirt gun or a water gun, and he tries to blast her, and she's dodging it perfectly. He's like, how are you dodging this? So if you watch One Piece, there's an ability called Haki, which shows up way late in the series, and one of the types of Haki that you can get is the ability to sense your opponent's attacks. And another type is like the ability to make people submit to you, kind of like you can knock people out and you can like tame wild animals with it. And so the joke I made in the episode when the Sorrow concert was happening and Odakichi was unaffected, being like, the note's off. The joke was that he had the Conqueror's type of Haki. And now his grandchild has Observation Haki, which allows her to dodge every attack. And, in a season about music, I could see that being relevant in some way, shape, or form somewhere down the line. Also, in that beach episode, at one point, Cure Beat gets knocked down, and Bass Drum is all like, Grr, you're going to give up on being a PreCure now.
It's too late to regret being a PreCure now.
Yeah, which is really dumb because that episode had nothing to do with her regretting anything. Like, what a dumb taunt for him to use. But you see Kier Muse there. She's watching, but then before she can jump in, Beat gets back up and is like, no, I want to be a PreCure, and she does an and beats up one of the 3 negatones that had, split into 3. And Muse turns and leaves, and her fairy tone says, aren't you going to help him? She says nothing, but she does kind of smile before she leaves. So interesting. Muse got there awfully quick, if she were, in some other part of the town. But also, she didn't need the help. She was willing to help if they got in over their heads, but once she saw that Beat was really strong, she's like, my job here is done. You didn't do anything.
Exactly. I'm excited now to get into the Muse arc properly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I now feels like the appropriate time to bring Muse into this. Hummy has been saying, wow, the we'll finish the Melody of Happiness soon, like really soon, any day now. Mm-hmm. So I'm guessing now that Ellen has been properly integrated into the team, that feels like the next plot device that we're going to move on to. Maybe we'll have a couple more fun bonding episodes. Maybe she'll have an episode where she specifically conflicts with maybe Hibiki or something, and then maybe she'll have an episode where she and Kanade get closer. But, my prediction is in another 3 or 4 episodes, we're going to have to move on to kind of the mid-season, the bad guys, their negatones have gotten stronger, now they're mega negatones. And,
mega nega. Mega
yes.
nega, mega nega, mega nega. That's fun.
Absolutely.
Nega. Nega.
Yes, absolutely. What would people think you were saying instead?
Something rude.
Sega Mega Negas. The Sega Mega Negatones.
I want to be clear though, because I don't want people to think we're being flippant. I was saying that over and over because I like the sound, not because it sounds like another word which is a slur.
Because you're not trying to be edgy.
Yeah, we will never say slurs on purpose on this podcast or allude to saying them. Like, haha, I didn't say it with an R, so it doesn't count. No, it counts. Stop it.
Just gonna push that soapbox out of the way. No, it's important to let people know where we stand on these things. I wrote down 2 other quotes that I want to talk about really quickly. In the episode where Ellen runs away, Kanade and Hibiki basically decide to let Hummy look for her, and they decide to just kind of hang out at the Lucky Spoon. But then eventually Hibiki kind of gets impatient. She goes, I'm gonna go look for Siren, because at this point they don't know she wants to go by a different name. And Kanade says, what are you going to say to her once you find her? And Hibiki goes, I don't know. I'll figure out when I find her. That's why she's the pink cure. And Kanade says, wait, you don't think things through. And she follows her girlfriend running out into the rain to go find their new friend.
Absolutely. It was beautiful. And then there was a moment later where Siren's like, we're not friends, you hate me. And Kanade says, no, you ate my cakes, so...
Yeah. That was the episode with the kid who was kind of sort of running away from home. They start talking to this young boy, and he goes, it has nothing to do with you, what's happening with me. And Kanade goes, oh, but you ate my cupcakes. You're our friend. So that was adorable. And the same rules apply to Ellen. Ellen ate a cupcake, so now she has to be their friend. Ellen is just super duper cute. I don't know. I don't know what it is specifically about her that makes me like her and think that she's more adorable than other characters, but I really like her. I like her friendship that she has with Kanade and Hibiki. I love how Kanade and Hibiki just were like, we need to help this girl. She's kind of lost and confused, and we can be her support. She has a fedora in the beach episode, and, you know, there's a certain stigma that goes along with it, but I think it looks quite nice on her, personally.
Mahummy.
Mahummy. Oh, yes, and we were going to talk about this on mic. Who is the bigger Hummy fan? Is it Kanade, or is it Ellen?
It's gotta be Ellen, because Kanade is just a slut for beans.
All right.
If
so
she sees...
Is there any other word you could use to describe that? A fanatic, maybe?
What do you...
Okay, so are you comfortable leaving that in? I'm just asking.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
She's like the Cookie Monster, but beans. She's the toe beans monster. If she sees a cat, she's gonna squeeze them beans, and it doesn't matter which cat it is. Whereas Ellen only cares about Hummy.
That's true.
If another cat walked up to her, she'd probably drop kick it.
No, there was an episode where she was carrying a cat. I have the screenshot of it. Can't remember the context.
No, it's funny to imagine Ellen as an alpha bee.
She doesn't like dogs. Like if a little like 3-pound fluff ball, a little yapper dog comes up to her and tries to bite her ankles, she just picks up and she just chucks it. She just throws it over her shoulder and she wipes her hands of the whole situation. Speaking of Ellen's love of Hummy, when she's trying to figure out how to talk to Kanade and Hibiki, how to become friends, Hummy gives her the advice, why don't you just talk to them like you're talking to me? Why don't you pretend that they're me? So she has a Waterboy moment, Adam Sandler's movie, where she scrunches her face and imagines them with Hummy's faces, and it's the creepiest thing I've ever seen.
She's like... I hate to use this word, but she's ready to molest them. Like, she's wiggling her fingers at them, and she's going, Hummy.
She's giving me Stranger Danger vibes, even though these three girls know each other.
And they even say, Ellen, the look on your face is really scary. Ellen, keep your hands to yourself. I don't care how much they look like your best friend cat person.
Your best cat friend. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Do we have any sound bites this week?
That one Wilbur guy, James, really, really likes Cure Beat. He loved the episode where she kind of embraced her transformation and actually got her name. The fight was great. And, you know, Hummy's just sitting there having complete faith in her friends. Hummy never hesitated, never thought that Ellen was anything less than her friend, and that faith was what created Cure Beat. It's so good.
Absolutely. I cannot get over how cute Hummy is.
Yes.
Like, she's just so wholesome. And this is why whenever I watch these seasons, I go, man, if I lived in PreCure world, I'd be on the bad guy team, because I don't have it in me to be that wholesome. I would have given up on Ellen like 10 episodes ago.
Well, and to be fair, Hibiki and Kanade had more realistic reactions, right? When they thought that at one point they even told Hummy in episode 22, like, this might be another trick. She might have transformed into what looked like a cure just to trick us again. And Hummy's like, nah, bro, I got it. So I think you are closer to Kanade and Hibiki. You might not immediately trust someone, but I think that you have the trust within you if you were given the chance, type of a thing. So
absolutely.
And then, of course, you have Ellen figuring out that she isn't alone in all this, which is super cute. There were, how do I say this? Sometimes in PreCure, there will be strong female friendships that really feels like a ship moment. Lala and Hikaru have a ton of them. Elena and Madoka have a ton of them. A lot of people read that into Nagisa and Honoka. But with these three, I don't really get the, there's a ship going on here, or you could write a fanfic about it. I really just feel like it's three girls who really have each other's back, and they just want to love Ellen as like a third sister, basically, and they're like, come on, be good. We trust you. You can do it.
It's extremely cute and wholesome.
Mm-hmm. And, we also have Kira's with the guitar motifs, are James's favorite. I just want to see Kira Beat bash a villain's head in with it. Turn that guitar into a bat.
A bat that is also a gun. I like it. That sounds like something Harley Quinn would have.
Absolutely. Last thing that James mentioned, after he listened to last week's episode about the PreCures that are based off of holidays, he wanted to know if they have to be like religious holidays, because I think that we only mentioned like Christmas is one of the main ones, and I guess St. Valentine's Day comes from a religious place as well. But he wanted to know, could we have a Cure National Pizza Day? And what an interesting idea, This is why we want thoughts from the crew. This is why we want sound bites, because other people just see things differently.
Would she be a yellow Cure? Or like a red-orange Cure for the pepperonis? I think yellow for the cheese.
I think kind of like how in Delicious Party you're starting to get less monotone, you're starting to get bright differences in colors. I think just all three, red, orange, and yellow. I think primarily a yellow Cure, but I would like red and orange highlights in the costume.
Okay, absolutely. I like it.
Okay, and I think that has been your
do final thought.
Outro goes here. Thanks for listening, everyone. Have a great day, and Delicious Party is back finally. Yum yum shall return.
Yum 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 yum. Thank you all for joining us for another delicious plateful of
Cure of the What Now.
Please take a moment to rate and review wherever you get your podcasts from.
Or if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to leave a comment, a like, or lick that subscribe bell so you know when the new episodes are going up.
Did you just say lick it?
Well, yeah, we're baking delicious foods. It's a delicious party.
Anyway, you can find me on Twitter @PirateGhostHost. Please don't lick me.
Can you even lick a ghost? I'm on Twitter @Cotwin_pod.
KOTWN_pod.
Absolutely. And as always, the Discord link is in the Twitter bio and also in the YouTube description.
Come join us for weekly discussions, streams, and all of the PreCure your heart can handle. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Yum. Or no, I'm full.